Hello and welcome to the Snickerdoodle Knits YouTube channel. I am Jessica, the knitting pattern designer behind Snickerdoodle Knits, the design mentor and community facilitator and podcaster behind Pattern Design Circle. And today we are going to talk about the 2-stitch I-cord bind off. This is the bind off method I use in my herringbone hygge pullover. So this shows you here the bind off. It's a pretty dark yarn, so here's also the exact same pattern, and this is the 2-stitch I-cord bind off. Just is a nice tidy way to bind it off. You're more familiar, or I'm more familiar with a 3-stitch I-cord bind off, but for this pattern it just felt a little bit too bulky. I really like the 2-stitch better, so I'm creating this tutorial to help you out. All right, so if you are working the I-cord bind off for the 2-stitch I-cord bind off, specifically for the herringbone hygge pattern, you have been working herringbone and you need to remember to change to the smaller needles. If you have an interchangeable tip like I do, you can just take the new screw on the new needles tips. If you have fixed needles, you can just transfer the stitches onto the new needle size, or you can work you can just work from one needle to the next. So let's say this here is another needle. I'll just put this tip on another cord. You could work from one needle to the next just using the next tip. You could also just transfer your stitches like this to move it over to the other needle. So that's specifically just for when you're needing to change needle sizes. A reminder for those of you that are working the herringbone hygge pullover, if you're working stockinette or garter or something similar, you likely will just keep the same needle size you have been working with. Alrighty, now let's get into the 2-stitch I-cord bind off. To start with, we cast on 2 stitches with a backwards loop cast on. We're casting those stitches onto the left needle. So I just like to create a loop around my index finger and put that right on the needle. 2 stitches. You want it to be tight enough that you don't have a gap here, but loose enough that you can actually work the stitches, which can be a tad bit tricky. So now we are going to knit the first stitch and knit 2 stitches together through the back loop. So let's go ahead. This first stitch can be a little bit tricky if you've got it tight. Knit 1. I can go ahead and zoom in here for you. Sorry about that. Knit 1. Knit 2 together through the back loop. And now we're just going to slide those right back over. And we're going to do exactly that same thing the whole way around. So we have a knit 1, knit 2 together through the back loop. And specifically for this pullover design as well, since we've been working the herringbone, those herringbone stitches are a little bit loose. So I find it really helpful to work this pretty tightly. You may even want to go down a needle size. That is up to you. I am a loosener in general. So I am just being conscious to keep this tight because that just makes it a bit more tidy. You can see here the version I'm wearing. That's a really nice, tight, tidy bind off. This here on this sample is a little bit looser. It doesn't look bad. It just doesn't look quite as tidy in my opinion as this, but of course that can be completely personal preference. If you like the looser, go for it, but if you're looking for a tighter just be conscious of that. Keep it nice and tight as you work. So we're literally just doing this through to the end of the round when we have 3 stitches left on the needle. So I will keep working and I will see you on the other end. All right, here we are, the final 3 stitches. So we'll go ahead and transfer these 2 back. Go ahead and work our last knit 1, knit 2 together through the back loop. And now we have 2 stitches left. This time I get off all the way. Oopsies. Sorry about that. Let's see if I just slide that. There we go. Okay, so we have the 2 stitches left, and I just like to slide those back and knit the last 2 stitches together through the back loop. Pull the yarn through, and now you can cut that yarn, snip it with some scissors, and weave in the end to just connect the beginning and end. You kind of fold it over however you like to make it look nice and pretty. And so then that is the 2-stitch I-cord bind off. You can see, let's see here, where's my beginning and round? Right here. This is my join when I wove in my end on this one, and here it is on this cuff. And I did, while I was working here, I changed my tension a little bit so you can see how that changes the look. Here I started off a bit tighter, here it's a bit looser. So that just gives you a look of what the aesthetic difference is. And that's the 2-stitch I-cord bind off. It just creates a nice pretty edging. So hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, go ahead and hit like and subscribe to the Snickerdoodle Knits YouTube channel. I have several knitting tutorials here on the channel, as well as design overview videos for all of my patterns. And now I have a podcast for designers, so I also publish those episodes on the YouTube channel. So I look forward to seeing you around, and happy knitting!